Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday the 11th of December. So looking at the markets here, in fact before I look at the markets, just a quick look at what we've got coming out today. We've got the second day of the EU Economic Summit, so that continues today. That's all day long. We'll see if anything more comes from that. Then in the US we've got the core PPI. Very low key really these days, this PPI. No one's really particularly interested in it. So I think really anything comes out of that summit, that's it. So let's look at the currencies themselves to start with. Euro dollar. If you've got one that you want me to look at, do flash up on here. Euro dollar. Just looking at it, obviously yesterday we got another shove up here, and at the moment this current 4-hourly bar almost looks like a key reversal. It's pitched up slightly higher there, completely engulfed the previous bar. Looks a bit bearish at this stage, but the trend has been pushing gradually up since on this 60-minute time frame. We've got a daily pivot not far below this, and the previous support trend line there may provide a bit of support here for a further bounce. We'll see, but come off quite strongly this morning so far. Not much to do. We'll just look at, and personally we'll look at what its reaction is like to that pivot, and if it bounces we'll maybe join on alongside. The pound, well, the pound continued to rot yesterday or drop, whichever. It's certainly looking softer. It's got to still pass this 32.20 area to give this a solid, a more significant lower high. It's sort of managed a bit of a bounce through the later sessions yesterday, but not much. It's again put this bearish candle in, and really looking soft. This sort of a bear flag situation when you look at it on an hourly here, looking quite, as I say, quite soft where it is. Already into its daily pivot, maybe S1's a possibility. We'll see how how things open up post 8 o'clock, and see, but really the downside looks like it's got the better opportunity. The talk on Brexit has been basically like a no deal is most likely, so I think traders are getting themselves used to it. The market's already probably pricing most of that in, but perhaps there's some belief that still a deal would be done. Last minute. Okay, dollar yen still running around this regression trend line there. It's come off a bit this morning through the earlier part of the session there, the early Asian session coming off. Just looking here, sort of working its way into a bit of a bear flag on the 60-minute. Again, looking at trend line across the lows there. I haven't put it on, of course. Let me just pop a trend line across the low there if I can, and see if this actually works. Whoa. It worked. There we go. So a breakdown of that sort of level may see further downside, but for now, well, patience on that as well. Oops, an extra trend line. Aussie dollar was certainly the most solid yesterday, pushing up and continued pushing up through its monthly R1, continuing up this morning. Really it's getting a very steep move here. This I mean, at some point there will probably be some profit taking. I haven't looked this morning to see what the traders sentiment is on this. Normally they'll be selling it as soon as it gets as soon as it pushes a couple of up bars, but I should imagine sentiment will be pretty strong against this, but for potentially good reason. You come down to the 60-minute and you can just see it a bit flaky. It's a bit of a divergence running across. Then we've got sort of almost a double divergence, not quite, but looking a little bit soft here, consolidating. Now if it breaks beyond that 8, maybe we'll have a bigger correction. It's holding up pretty well at the moment. Consolidation at the high here will probably see us just continue pushing up yet again, but any rollover here, well, there is an untouched daily pivot to aim for below. But the Aussie dollar has been by far one of the strongest currencies this week, this month. Okay, looking at the Canadian dollar, again, that got a kicker yesterday. Managed to finally break the lows I've been talking about over the last couple of days. So it's finally got a kicker later in the afternoon here. These sessions just pushing down. And let's have a look at 60-minute time frame. Well, looking at this, Canadian dollar might get a bit. We're seeing a bit of a correction for all these markets at the moment. Pound, as I said, selling off. Euro selling off. We've got effectively the Canadian dollar here selling off against the US dollar. Daily pivot could be in line again later. Maybe we'll be looking at this on the downside. Been a tricky old market sometimes through this week, particularly with these Asian session moves that have sort of seen the market move quite a long way before the UK markets and the European markets are running. Made it a little bit more difficult. Okay, let's look at the couple other currencies here just very briefly. New Zealand dollar, well, doing a similar thing, a little bit weaker it's been this week, but that also looks like it might just correct back a little bit. But okay, let's look at the S&Ps. S&Ps yesterday continued a little downside. Yesterday I talked about the bearish engulfing. That was sort of pretty much held there. We saw a move to the downside coming off that, and then we're sort of well, currently an inside bar. I'd be surprised if we end the week on a downside, but it certainly is at the moment. It's below its weekly pivot. As I said, this market for me, well, I think it's better on the trading it on the upside in the main. Again, you could be looking at trend lines across the highs here and waiting for breaks, etc. But for now, well, it is continuing in this downside. Has put some lower highs in, looking a little bit soft as I go to print here at the moment. Oil. News-wise today, I've got asked a question: do I consider it's got enough punch? There's not a lot of punch in the news today. You just don't know what will come out of the European summit. There may be more comments, and I didn't see too much coming out yesterday regarding whether they're going to actually do this fiscal stimulus has been approved or not. I expect that to be, if it's not out yesterday, will be out today. Oil shoved up yesterday again as well. So again, all solid move in the afternoon there through, and a real punching sort of move there. Now it's just consolidating again. Lower high already put in on oil, but it's struggling a little bit. It's probably getting a bit toppy towards the $50 area overall, but so long as buyers are there, we'll just leave it to it. Okay, that's pretty much it for me. There's nothing else here at the moment, so I wish you a great day, and I will be back on Monday. Have a great one. Bye for now. So there we are.